allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Thomas. Here. Warner. Hewitt.
Here.
Wenzel. Here. Hoover. Here. Chanel.
Here.
Vicky. Here. All right, under President's statement, you have one change to the agenda. Moneyline Holdings would like to talk to us about their personal property tax, so we'll put them in under new business. They will become letter A, and items for introduction. Additionally, Haley Rolfe had finished 6th place in the world for the CrossFit World Competition. That's pretty awesome. In the 16, 17-year-old division. So I'd like to congratulate her on that great achievement and putting Chesaning on the map. With that said, we will take any public statement regarding current agenda items. Okay.
Public hearing, we speak during it, right?
Yes. Yeah. All right. And consent agenda. We'll need a motion to approve.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, Moneyline Holdings. You have the floor.
Good evening. We just made a call in regards to our taxes. We have some personal and also some property taxes that will be delinquent. Unfortunately, our business in our business it hasn't been so well for the past couple of years, and obviously we honor all these taxes, and we are working towards getting them paid, obviously, and we're in that position hopefully now that we can get them wrapped up and catch up with all of them. However, we had a little objection to the personal business taxes, and I know that some of these taxes are from a couple of years ago, and I think they went to the county. So I don't know if that's going to be addressed here, or we would have to get hold of the county for any penalties or any of these delayed fees. But in regards to the personal property tax, once we got to look at these, we thought that it was just pretty much overvalued because we pretty much have just the land, the fence, and some old equipment there in a barn. So we didn't think that those personal property taxes were valued property in our value. And due to that, business obviously wasn't so great for now. And we're trying to catch up with all of else and making sure that we prioritize things like being employees first and everything else. And we understand that taxes are a very important priority. That's why we want to address the issue and we'll come before you guys, see what we can do in regards to if we are able to pay most of it or all of it, what we can do to get a little help in regards to the delinquent, and also reevaluating the personal property tax.
So just to be clear for everybody on the board, this is involving your personal property tax.
Correct.
And that is, tax is not like a Michigan levy personal property tax, which is equipment, computers, tractors, not land itself.
Correct. We have no objection to that.
We'll have to pull the numbers and see what it is and find out how we can have that assessed.
Okay.
Is that something driven by us or driven by the company?
No, it's part of the state does pay back to 1.9%. I read that right on personal property. So it's set with an addendum to file taxes. And I don't know. Sorry, I'm not sure. If it's under $80,000, I don't think there's any taxes levied. If it's over, there is. They just changed it from $80,000 to $180,000 threshold pay tax for this year. I'd love to get the treasurer information on that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
motion to enter public hearing at 7:35 PM for public hearing 2019-02.02, continuation of fines for medical marijuana.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are in public hearing. This is the ordinance around, medical marijuana licensing for the everyday being a fine, levied just once. And this one specifically is for medical, not recreation. Does any member of the public have anything to say?
I have a question.
Sure.
How many days will you let this fine accrue before you decide to bring them to the staff? Am I reading this right? There's a violation of some kind, and there's a $500 fine every day, or how many days?
So like this.
So there's.
I mean, at some point, essentially, once those $500 add up, it becomes a, maybe that's a license.
I guess I'm saying how many days until you say that's a license.
It's not in the ordinance right now, but we will evaluate it as it come up. Hopefully, it's not meant to make money, it's meant to fix the problems. Hopefully we don't have to make that,
Hopefully you don't.
but I'm sure we will.
I additionally have a similar comment. At what point does the time turn to a licensed forfeiture? How many days are you gonna wait? If it happens on day one of a renewal, are you gonna wait 365 days to determine that they had a fine every single day and they don't get renewed? There's no language in that.
No, there's not. It's just for the fine itself. So if they, let's say that there's a fine levied on day one. Like they come in, they get their new license. And after they have their new license, they get a fine. That would go into the next year's. When they come in to renew, they'll say, hey, you had 15 days of fines, you didn't pay them. You're not getting your license, whatever.
Okay, that builds up my next question then. So they have 15 days of fines and they pay them.
Well, we don't have a number, just so.
No, I'm just using your
Hypothetical.
building. So they have 15 days of fines, but they did pay them. So, but they do that every year for whatever reason to just avoid having to follow a rule. At what point do you determine that they actually, their license is partners?
We don't know yet. That'll have to come up at the next license. But if they did it for more days, then it would be a license. That looks pretty bad, right? If they do 15 days, I can understand if it's, hey, we can't get the parts or in the middle of COVID. That's a little bit different. But if they're just not doing it, don't want to do it, that's, it doesn't matter.
And that would be brought in light at the point
Oh,
where.
yeah.
So that, I mean, so that the public will know the reason why you didn't renew or didn't.
Right.
Doesn't Tommy reserve the right to bring said person to council for license approval as well?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's
So
gonna,
it could be something, like I said, they could get a part,
oh, yeah,
whatever.
but instead of just, rubber stamping it, said person comes to the podium and then council gets to make decisions on whether, based on that information, whether the license gets renewed or not.
I mean, if they're doing great, there's no fines, and
Oh.
a great citizen.
Yeah, no, but yeah,
Right.
I mean, I remember when James was here, that was one of the conversations, people that were having, or business owners that were having issues, council was gonna reserve the right to make the decision on licensing.
Yeah.
What I would like to see happen, Fran, is I would like to come together as a council and develop some type of criteria that we judge what the, as in, what the fine is for, how long it took them to accomplish the task, and what fines would we look at, to be a more severe fine in order to whether or not we judge whether we take their license or not. I think just taking a license purely on a fine reason is kind of a slippery slope, so I would like to identify a stronger criteria of why we would take licenses and what fines would go against them and what fines wouldn't.
I actually think that's a good idea. I mean, But
Yeah.
I'm gonna just throw this out as an example, and it's nothing to do with the marijuana company, but if somebody just chose to not have their lawn, not mow their lawn as a resident all year long because they feel it's cheaper, they got the village mower than them, I'm sure you guys would step up and do something in that case too. You're not gonna just let that keep happening, you're gonna figure out a way to stop that from happening.
Sure, I would think
So,
that. If we ran into an instance like that, then possibly, I'm not sure.
we actually had that one instance.
Sure,
at one
I can
time.
understand.
So,
and
you
that's what I would
guys
like to see,
actually
though.
previously discussed that, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring that up too, because I think that's actually a good policy.
Sure, I think that there's
They know what you're saying.
exactly, they have a guideline of that they're following, that they know, okay, if we do this, then I really have a stronger chance of losing my license. I should probably toe the line in that area like I'm supposed to be versus just accumulating a fine. I'll just use the fencing, for example. That's always been a problem, with keeping it secured. But hopefully, as we work through our ordinances, and I do believe we have one coming down the line that's going to require them to change the fencing and then also change the fasteners. So that will be an ordinance all on its own, but if they choose to not follow that ordinance, then obviously that is a big deal to me, because we've instated an ordinance that says, this is what you need to do. Why have you not done this yet? So hopefully that's going to be coming down. After we get the ones that we already have into play done and implemented, I'm hoping that we'll continue working on that, and that will be something that we're going to work on.
So then, with what you answered, then you're saying that, like, if they had a fine the day after they renewed, that would come towards the next year's renewal. So this goes into effect, September 1st if it's adopted. Are you gonna count these fines for the rest of this year till their renewal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, we'll need a motion to close public hearing.
I make a motion to close public hearing at 7:43 PM for public hearing 2019-02.02, continuation of fines for medical marijuana.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have a public hearing for 2019-03.02, continuation of fines for recreational marijuana. We need a motion to open public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing for 2019-03.02, continuation of fines for recreational marijuana.
This is exactly the same as the last one, with the exception of the language being for recreational marijuana. There we go.
See where you coming?
Well, and then same comments for that one.
Yeah. They are almost identical with some minor language changes to cover both, but they have to be separate. Anybody have questions? All right. Next, we need a motion to close public hearing for 2019-03-.02.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing for 2019-03.02, continuation of fines, recreational marijuana. I want to apologize, I have a really severe migraine and it's affecting my vision and my speech, so that's why I'm not doing so hot in my speech.
Supported.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have public hearing for 2019-02.03, good standing for medical marijuana. This ordinance basically says that we will not issue a license unless they are in good standing being taxes are paid, all of the taxes are paid, any fees, fines, all that good stuff. There won't be no license until that's all paid. With that said, we'll need a motion to open public hearing for 2019-02.03.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing, 2019-02-03, good standing medical.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any public comments?
First of all, I'd like to say, and I neglected to say it before, thank you for working on these. I know it's slow and tedious work, and I know you're probably still not finished with them, but, I appreciate it, thank you. Can you give a definition of good standing? Because I know sometimes when it comes to certain taxes, I think the county gives a couple of years leeway. So somebody could say, I'm good, but how are you defining good standing? I'm
Good
just curious.
standing means the marijuana establishment, licensed applicant, and all stakeholders of the applicant have fully paid any and all property taxes, special assessments, fines, fees, and any other financial obligations to the village of Chesaning, the county of Saginaw, and the state of Michigan.
So is that just on the marijuana property? If they own other property in town, it doesn't apply?
It's just for the
Just for that?
I mean, if they own, let's say it's Highlight, they own their main building, but they also say buy some property elsewhere in the village under that business umbrella.
Right.
It's all properties under that business umbrella.
Okay. And my other question, I guess, is under the licenses, generally transferring a license to a different location. I just made some notes when I looked at these in the packet. At what step does the license transfer to a different location ever go before the public? Is there a public hearing on that at all?
No, there's generally not. If they've already gotten approved the location, it's just moving them.
So it would go through the council?
It would go just through the town to do it. But if they are applying for a new license at a new location, then it's the whole
That's
process.
the whole thing. Okay.
And, as I've said before and pointed out, if we miss a fine payment, blah, blah, the state's doing this same thing.
Oh,
They're gonna catch it. So the state's putting this same type of rule in for everybody, for everything as well, so.
We're just ahead of the ball.
Yeah, so. I think they got theirs in place, they're after people now, so.
I have questions too.
Sure.
Sort of building on a little bit what Yasmin said, but under section 5, license application evaluation, it says, whether the applicant or stakeholder is in good standing or has been served with a complaint or other notice filed with any public body regarding payment of any tax required under federal, state, or local law that has been delinquent for 1 or more years. What constitutes delinquent? Is that when it goes delinquent to the county or when it's past its due date? And why would you say 1 or more years when once it's delinquent, it's delinquent? And I guess I don't understand the or more years, because delinquent would stop it from being renewed, would stop it from being in good standing, which should stop it from being renewed.
I don't know why that language is in there, the lawyer put it in there, so
So,
I don't.
It could be the way the state's writing theirs as well.
Yeah.
Ours can't be tougher than the state.
if it,
So if that's the way the state did
That's how
it,
the state is, but otherwise
So-
it really makes no sense otherwise. And then it says, with the part that you read, Matt, the applicant have fully paid any and all property taxes, special assessments, fines, fees, and any other financial obligations. So I'm assuming that includes those fines that we just talked about in the other. Okay. And I also meant to also say, I'm glad to see that it's getting worked on, and we're happy about this too. So.
Great.
anybody else?
Okay. This time we need a motion to close public hearing for 2019-02.03.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing, 2019-02.03, good standing medical.
Support. Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, one more. At this time, we'll need a motion to enter public hearing for 2019-03.03, good standing for recreational.
I'll make a motion to go and enter in a public hearing under 2019-03.03, good standing on recreational marijuana.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time, does anyone have any comments regarding good standing for recreational marijuana. Council? All right, at this time, we'll need a motion to close public hearing for 2019-03.03 good standing.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing on 2019-03.03 good standing recreational.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now moving on into items for action. Ordinance 2019-02.02, continuation of fines for medical marijuana. We need a motion to approve.
So moved. Not saying all that anymore.
Motion's been made and supported to approve ordinance 2019-02.02, continuation of fines for medical marijuana. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll need a motion to approve ordinance 2019-03.02, continuation of fines for recreational marijuana.
Support.
So moved and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The migraine's coming around the table.
Right. At this time, we'll need a motion to approve ordinance 2019-02.03, good standing for medical marijuana.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll need a motion to approve ordinance 2019-03.03, good standing for recreational marijuana.
So moved.
Support.
Motion's been made and
Now everybody waiting.
Motion's been made and supported. All those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on into committee reports. Infrastructure,
No meeting.
finance and admin,
No need.
public safety, no meeting, DDA.
DDA met last week, they talked about a lot. They reviewed the brickwork that was being done downtown and whether or not to extend that over by Studio 124. There was some discussion and questions about where we are at as far as deliberation with the building collapse.
Still in court.
That was my answer, that the process is slow and ponderous. But, they're gonna be working to alternate the flags for the sports teams with the market flags downtown, so that'll become. There was some discussion about the rain containers or the gardening pits at the library. Discussion about just upkeep up and down the boulevard. And speaking of upkeep on the boulevard, there was some discussion about, we're actually really blessed in town to have the public trash cans that we have, believe it or not. And looking at other communities, they've been removed. And we still have those, but as the saying says, it takes a village. So they're looking at.
When we had our trash hauling contract.
Yeah, and yeah, we could talk some about that. But, and then they're opting to stay with their every other, so they won't have a meeting for tomorrow.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce met. I was unable to attend as I was out of town. I'll follow up and see if there's any major updates. But this is probably mostly just around fireworks stuff. Planning Commission?
Meeting was canceled for this month. We are still tacking away at our master plan in our own time until the next meeting.
Airport?
There was no meeting, but there was an email. Information on the Stoll event on the weekend. Why aren't you reading this, Sean?
I read it early. The Stoll event went well. One fly-in from Wisconsin. About 40 planes showed up from all over southeast Michigan, a lot of the lower Detroit area. There was, somebody stayed over at the YOLO Hotel. Yo-Yo? Yep. They were highly impressed, thought it was very nice. Mr. Carlick caught somebody on his bike
Hey.
with the family.
We don't need to talk about that part.
Well received, 2-day event, very well received, about 40 planes on Sunday. I think it was 17 participants.
15 participants. There were people that were from out of state that came to see the event, and they guessed between pilots and spectators, about 150 people.
And eager to do it again next year.
And the only fun they had was the toilet that tipped over.
Yeah. But at least it was
The
at
storm tipped one over, one of the origins.
Yeah.
Sloan's got it back up and running for him.
That's just shitty.
On the record.
G. How do you, two T's?
Well, that sounds like it went better than the air show down south.
Yes.
And they had that MiG that crashed.
2 pilots ejected. Yeah.
Final
Oh,
board?
here, one last thing that John wanted everybody to know. The airport grounds were really good. The mowing was nice. There were no humps. All the pilots, everybody will love the airport, the way it was set up when they did their event. So he wanted to thank the village for getting that done. Okay, now we're good.
Alright, fire board, Phil had sent me a text, it went up. There were 12 calls since the last meeting, 28 calls to date. The LZ training went good with flight care. This week is old gas, fair went good also. The roof is coming along, and the next fire board is 9/13. That's good news. Task force.
No meeting.
Parks committee.
No meeting.
Public statement, any topic limited to 3 minutes. Chris Fishman.
Christmas show, 101 Jeffrey Craig. First of all, so many people have made comments to me about how wonderful the planners look, and off the side streets, not just on the main street, and a huge thank you. I know you get paid for it, but I know you put a lot of love and energy of your own. It's appreciated.
We get paid, for clarification, we get paid to transport them and to plant them. I donate all of my time to care for them and water them daily.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. My thing is today, I have to apologize and admit that I'm illegally gone through the stop signs on Hyde Park twice because I've been raised and born here all my life. I've just gone straight by there, and I don't usually use Front Street except now that State was going to mess up on State. I had to go down Front Street. And the first time I did it, I realized I did it right in front of Danielle Street, so I slammed on my brakes. Had there been a car stopped behind me, they would have smashed right into me. So I mean, I think either two things. Either that has to be readdressed. And I must say that both times I ran that stop sign, there was not a car in sight in any direction. I did stop today, just to say that I can learn. But it was very scary, and either we have to have huge blinking lights going on there, or we have to get rid of them. Something bad's going to happen, and I just feel strongly one way or the other. Either make it safe or get rid of it, please.
Thank you.
And please don't arrest me because
Get here tonight.
I voluntarily admitted.
All right, next up, Yasberts.
I'm
Okay. Francis and Terry Kukless.
We observed something that we felt was very odd. We almost called the police department, but we let it go because we weren't sure. But it was this last week, I don't remember exactly what day, but it was late at night. It was on our way home, so it was already getting quite dark out. And there was a red pickup truck pulled up to the fence, right up to the fence, on Bolton Road side, next to the hill, with two guys at the top of the hill peering into the marijuana. And we don't know what they were up to. We were going to stop, but we thought that would just draw more attention. And then we debated calling the police. We didn't know what to do, but it just was
Could be someone that works there, just nosing around.
It was just a weird time of night to be doing it.
Yeah, if you see it again, let the police know, just so I can check it out, cause who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, it was very strange.
You said that was last week, middle of the week sometime?
It was middle of the week, yeah. And they were two people standing at the top of the hill.
Three total.
Oh, there were three, I didn't see the third guy, I only see the two up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, if you see it again, please let us know. Sounds fishy.
And that's what we found.
Maybe you should ask them to check their cameras, I'm sure that they have it on camera.
Is that all? Mike Navarre?
Yes.
Council member statements. Any council member wish to make a statement at this time?
I think the sturgeon release is Saturday.
Yes.
At 11, I believe.
Be up there trying to catch them. In 30 years, my kids can come back and catch me on the river. I'll probably be gone. All right, village staff reports. Police chief.
I have some quick stats from the month of July. The department handled 4 alarm calls. We assisted fire 6 times, assisted medical 15 times, the sheriff's department 20 times. We had 2 disorderly calls, 1 domestic, 6 family troubles, 3 neighbor troubles, 533 premise checks, 9 suspicious vehicles. We handled 2 traffic crashes and had 58 traffic stops. We did hire, one of our full-time officers left us. He decided now that he had so many years in, he could go federal, so he left for a federal position. We hired a officer out of the city of Saginaw. He started with us, he's going through his FTO right now, and he'll be a good addition to the department.
I agree.
You met him, he's a great guy.
What is the SCSD? St. Charles something.
PD, SCPD,
No, SCSD.
Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
Moving on into the work session for the marijuana ordinances, we should have a couple more coming in, starting to review those at the next meeting, we'll have to do more public hearings, and we'll just keep plugging away at them. Does anybody have anything for tonight?
Motion adjourned.
Support. Motion's been made and supported, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Not too bad. 34 minutes.
Well, what it sounded like, was it sounded like a machine hospital?
Oh.
So, like vibration was